A new museum is opening at the Statue of Liberty to replace a smaller one that had been inside the statue's pedestal. Set to open on Thursday, the 2,415 square meter museum will be the new home for the statue's first torch and many other historical pieces. John Piltziker is the National Park Service's top administrator for the Statue of Liberty National Monument and Ellis Island. Piltziker explained that the old museum's small size limited the number of people who could visit it. The new museum is open to anyone who comes to Liberty Island, with admission included in the price of the ferry ticket. Cameron Ringnes is the project designer at FX Collaborative, which created the museum's look. Ringnes noted that the new museum is meant to connect to Lady Liberty using the same granite stone that is part of the statue pedestal. We wanted to enhance the feeling that it's really special to be in proximity to the statue, Ringnes said. Inside, there are 3 main spaces. One theater shows the history and meaning of the statue. Another space shows what statue designer Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi's workroom looked like. In the third space, visitors can take pictures of themselves. They can also write about what liberty means to them as they look at the torch and a copy of the statue's face. That last part was important, said Edwin Schlossberg. Schlossberg is the president and lead designer at ESI Design, which created the exhibition spaces. He noted that the statue was built to congratulate the United States for fighting the Civil War to free slaves. Schlossberg added that the idea of struggling for liberty has been important to the statue's history. That idea had to continue as a core value of this experience, he said.
Art lovers around the world are remembering Leonardo da Vinci. He died in France 500 years ago on May 2nd, 1519. A British art expert announced on Thursday that Britain's royal family has a portrait of the famous artist, often known simply as Leonardo. Martin Clayton, a royal art advisor, said the portrait's owner is Queen Elizabeth II. He added that the image was made by one of Leonardo's assistants shortly before his death. Clayton said the straight nose and other details look very much like the only other known portrait of Leonardo done in his lifetime. That picture was the work of Italian painter Francesco Melzi. Visitors to London's Buckingham Palace will have a chance to see the portrait for themselves later this month. It will be on display at the Queen's Gallery with about 200 drawings from her collection of Leonardo's works. The show opens on May 24th and continues until October 13th. On Thursday, the presidents of Italy and France gathered in the French town of Amboise to mark the anniversary of the artist's death. He spent the final years of his life in the town. Today, art lovers around the world are celebrating Leonardo's work. He is considered a true Renaissance man, working not only as an artist, but as a scientist and inventor. There really hasn't been anybody then or since who has combined this extraordinary genius for these totally different areas, said Gregory Rubinstein. He is the worldwide head of Old Master Drawings at Sotheby's auction house. I think that's what's at the heart of our fascination. Sotheby's announced Thursday that an important, rarely seen Leonardo drawing is going on display in its New York offices next month. The drawing, called Leda and the Swan, was painted in 1506. It is based on a story from Greek mythology. It has not been shown in public since 2003. Leonardo appears to have made the painting while he was also working on Mona Lisa, his most well-known painting. The Mona Lisa hangs in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Rubinstein said the very complete and very beautiful drawing appears to have been preparatory work for a painting that was never made or was lost. It's a very mysterious one because there is no surviving record, and no painting survives, he said. The New York exhibition opens on June 28th and will continue through September 18th.
New York City will finally honor real women with a statue in its famous Central Park. City officials voted this week for the creation of a statue of 3 female civil rights leaders. Central Park has 23 statues of men who were important in history, but none of women. In fact, females are represented only by statues of imaginary characters. These include a statue of Alice, the hero of Alice in Wonderland books by 19th century British writer Lewis Carroll. The new statue from artist Meredith Bergman is to be uncovered next August. Visitors will see the representation of past activists Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sojourner Truth. The 3 women were contemporaries and leaders in the anti-slavery, women's rights, and anti-alcohol movements. Their activism helped to secure the right of women to vote in 1920. Pam Elam is president of the nonprofit organization Monumental Women. It worked with historians, community leaders, and local officials in support of the statue. Elam said the artwork shows the power of women working together to bring about revolutionary change in our society. The group privately raised $1.5 million to create and care for the new statue and a linked educational program. Bergman's early design for the statue included only Anthony and Stanton. Observers criticized its lack of African American representation, noting that women of that group were also important to the fight for women's suffrage. So, Bergman redesigned the statue to add truth. Central Park is not the only area of New York limited in statues representing historical women. In fact, the government group She Built NYC says the large city of 5 boroughs has just 5 public statues of women from history. A 2016 news story in the magazine Smithsonian.com reported that women were the subject of only about 7% of public statues in the United States that depict real people.